We love the suit-up scenes. We love the sound of the repulsors charging and the sight of a man flying faster than a fighter jet. Pop culture has spent nearly 2 decades telling us that Tony Stark is the ultimate power fantasy. He is the man who conquered his limitations with nothing but a box of scraps and a genius-level IQ. But there is a massive difference between the legend of Iron Man and the reality of being Tony Stark. While the world sees a hero in a shiny chrome chassis, the man inside sees a prison. To be Iron Man is to live in a state of perpetual crisis. It is a life defined by physical agony, social isolation, and a psychological burden that would crush anyone else. If you truly look at the timeline, from the caves of Afghanistan to the final snap, it becomes clear that the suit wasn't just a weapon, it was a curse. Today, we're going deep, because being the invincible Iron Man, it actually kind of sucks. Chapter 1. The Biology of a Battery. Let's start with the physical reality. Most superheroes get their powers from a serum or a radioactive spider bite, things that enhance the body. Tony Stark's power came from a traumatic injury. For years, Tony lived with a localized electromagnetic field in his chest just to keep shrapnel from shredding his heart. Imagine the sensation of having a heavy, vibrating industrial component integrated into your bone structure. It isn't just there, it's a constant, humming reminder that you are broken. In Iron Man 2, we see the dark side of this tech. The very thing keeping him alive was also turning his blood into toxic sludge. Every time he used the suit, he accelerated his own death. He was literally trading his lifespan for the ability to protect a world that didn't even know he was dying. Even after the surgery in Iron Man 3, the damage was done. His nervous system had been wired to a machine for so long that he struggled to function without the HUD, the AI, and the constant stream of data. He didn't just wear the suit, he became a biological extension of it. Chapter 2. The Physics of Pain. There is a concept in physics called inertia. The suit might be indestructible, but the human body inside it is still soft. When Iron Man hits a wall at Mach 2, the suit stops instantly, but Tony's internal organs keep moving. Every time we see Iron Man take a hit from a villain like Thanos or Cull Obsidian, we aren't just watching metal hit metal. We are watching a middle-aged man with no super strength or healing factor take the equivalent of a high-speed car crash every 5 seconds. By the time of the Civil War, Tony is visibly aging faster than his peers. He's bruising more easily. He's nursing a permanent arm injury. While Steve Rogers heals overnight, Tony Stark is living on a cocktail of painkillers and adrenaline. The suit is a mechanical exoskeleton, but it's also a meat grinder. Every flight, every landing, and every heroic punch adds another hairline fracture to a body that was never meant to do this. Chapter 3. The Cage of Genius. The greatest curse of Tony Stark isn't the suit, it's his mind. Tony is a futurist. That sounds like a compliment, but in reality, it's a mental health nightmare. Being a futurist means you are never allowed to live in the present. While the Avengers are eating shawarma after a battle, Tony is already looking up, calculating the trajectory of the next invasion. He saw the Chitauri fleet in the Avengers, and he never truly came back down to Earth. This led to a paralyzing obsession with preemptive strikes. He built Ultron because he was too afraid to sleep. He signed the Sokovia Accords because he didn't trust himself, or anyone else, to be enough. Imagine the exhaustion of feeling like the safety of 8 billion people rests solely on your ability to outthink the universe. When you're the smartest person in the room, you are also the loneliest. You see the tragedy coming miles away, and when you can't stop it, you're the only one who knows exactly how you failed. Chapter 4. The Public Execution of Privacy. I am Iron Man. It's the coolest line in cinema history, but it was also Tony's greatest tactical error. By removing the mask, he turned his entire life into a battlefield. Most heroes have a sanctuary. When the day is done, they go home. For Tony, home was a glass mansion whose address was public record. He invited the world to watch him bleed. This didn't just affect him, it weaponized his relationships. Pepper Potts couldn't just be a CEO, She had to be the person who might get kidnapped every time a new disgruntled scientist decided they hated Tony. Happy Hogan couldn't just be a friend. He had to be a target. To be Iron Man is to live in a world where you can never be sure if the person approaching you wants an autograph or your head on a platter. He turned his loved ones into collateral damage. That's a heavy price to pay for a little bit of glory. Chapter 5. The Financial and Moral Drain. Then there's the money. People think being a billionaire makes everything easier, but for Tony, his wealth is tied to his greatest shames. Stark Industries was built on war. Every time Tony flies in that suit, he is reminded that his legacy began with the very weapons now being used against him. He spends billions not on luxury, but on damage control. He's the one who has to fund the damage control teams to clean up the mess after a battle. He's the one paying for the Avengers' legal defense. He's the one who has to look the mother of a dead Sokovian boy in the eye and realize that all his money couldn't save her son. Being Iron Man is an endless cycle of trying to pay off a moral debt that can never be settled. He isn't flying for fun. He's flying to make up for the sins of his father and his younger self. It's a job that pays in guilt. Conclusion. The ghost in the machine. In the end, Tony Stark achieved the impossible. He became the hero he always pretended to be. But look at what it cost him. It cost him his youth, his health, his peace of mind, and eventually his time with his daughter. The tragedy of Iron Man is that he was a man who wanted to build a suit of armor around the world, but he ended up becoming the armor himself. He lived in the suit, he fought in the suit, and he died in the suit. It sucks to be Iron Man because the world doesn't want Tony Stark, the guy who likes cheeseburgers and making jokes. The world wants the machine. They want the protector. And Tony, being who he is, could never say no. He gave everything so that everyone else could keep living in a world where Iron Man doesn't have to exist. He was a hero, yes, but he was also a man who just wanted to go home. And that is the loneliest thing in the universe. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. If you want to see more long-form breakdowns of your favorite characters, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. We look at Captain America and see the ultimate symbol of hope, the perfect soldier, the man out of time who always stands his ground. But what happens when the shield becomes a target? What happens when your reward for saving the world is losing everyone you ever loved, while history leaves you entirely behind? It's not a superpower, it's an isolation chamber. Next week, we're looking past the propaganda to see why the Star-Spangled Banner is actually a heavy golden cage. Why it really sucks to be Captain America. Subscribe so you don't miss it.